just paint it up in a different light.
No, it needs to end. But I think Phil's getting ready to introduce our next guest.
Yeah, do we have a caller on the line here?
Yes, we have the special Dr. Uma out of Massachusetts. Dr. Uma is a physician with the Uplifting Health and Wellness in Massachusetts. She's also a professor at the North Eastern Cannabis Institute, and she's also a homegrown New Jerseyan as well. She graduated from Rutgers University and was born and raised in Livingston, New Jersey, or, well, as she will refer to as Livingstone, New Jersey.
Yes.
You know.
Welcome, Dr. Can you say your name? Dhanabalan? Is that it?
Dr. Uma.
Dr.
Yes.
How are you doing, hon?
I'm good. I want to say hello and good afternoon to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to our show.
Wonderful. I've been listening to you guys. You guys have lots of issues going on there.
Not much. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
So, I kind of gave you a little introduction. How about you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. As Phil has said, I'm originally from India. I grew up in Jersey, went to undergraduate, went to Rutgers, and went to medical school in Newark, New Jersey. I'm a family doctor by training and have been also in occupational medicine and in the cannabis world for about 5 years of learning. And I've seen about 4,000 patients plus between the ages of 18 to 96.
Wow.
I truly believe cannabis is a medicine, and I also make this statement: cannabis is not an entrance drug; it's an exit drug from pharmaceuticals and narcotics.
Amen to that.
That's right. Yeah,
Amen
let's talk to that.
You said you have 4,000 patients. Are those all cannabis patients?
I'm sorry?
You said you have 4,000 patients. Are all those medical cannabis patients?
Yes, I've seen
Wow.
I've made recommendations for over 4,000 patients, and we have seen that this medicine is actually getting people off their narcotics, if not reducing it significantly. And, you know, we have a major concern with overdose and opioid overdose. The United States is 5% of the world's population, and we're consuming 80% of the world's opioids. That's a huge concern.
Doctor, they don't teach about the endocannabinoid system in medical school. What made you decide to learn about this system in the body?
Excellent question. About 5 years ago, like I said, when I got involved in learning about it, my mom was diagnosed with what they call as idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Fancy term for we don't know what causes your lung disease. My mom never smoked, never ate red meat, exercised, and did all the correct things. And she was visiting at the time from India, and I saw a program about how they were using cannabis in Israel for patients with lung cancer, COPD, and asthma. And at first it just didn't make sense. You know, here I was in the world of a family doc and Ahmed telling people not to smoke and putting respirators on them to protect them. And that's when I first learned about the endocannabinoid system. It still is not being taught in medical schools at all locations. They're trying to, but it's not known. This word itself is not known to most clinicians or healthcare providers.
That's shocking to me.
It is, because this system, the endocannabinoid system, is actually, we first started to learn about this in 1964 when Dr. McCullum first identified it. So we've known about this endocannabinoid system for about 25 years. And the beauty of this medicine is that we have no fatalities, zero fatalities from cannabis. And we are still not learning all the appropriate and correct information.
No.
It's a healing plant. Can you tell us a little bit more about, the dissenters in the medical community? Like, for example, in Pennsylvania, we recently had hearings for some legislation that's pending for medical cannabis. It doesn't even include flowers. It's just like oil and concentrates. But representatives from the Pennsylvania Medical Association testified on multiple occasions that no peer-reviewed research exists supporting the benefits of medical cannabis and how it should not be removed from Schedule 1 as a narcotic. Can you talk a little bit about, the opposition in the medical community and why they would say things like this? And it's not just in Pennsylvania. They've said this on record in Virginia, in Maryland, in Georgia, a lot of the southern states. What's happening where you're from?
I think it's an excellent question and comment, because the problem is, I just actually, believe it or not, I was at the Mass Medical Society meeting as a delegate for the last 3 days. And most clinicians, as I said, don't know about the endocannabinoid system. And what they do know is misinformation. Most clinicians don't even know that this medicine was prescribed by doctors. It was in our pharmacopoeia, which is the Webster's dictionary for doctors, until 1942. My personal thoughts are that cannabis is right now in Schedule 1, and I do not want to see it in any schedule. I think it needs to be descheduled,
Amen to that.
not rescheduled. And I'll tell you why. Cannabis is right now along the same category as heroin, LSD, and ecstasy. And those medicines kill people. When it was placed in Schedule 1 in 1970, it was placed there saying that it has no medical use, no medical research, and potential for abuse. Well, as far as abuse, people can get abused in tobacco, alcohol, gambling, you name it. So abuse is not the criteria that can say with this. And as far as addiction rates go with cannabis, it's about 9% compared to about 30% with tobacco, and opioids is about 25%. The concern is they keep saying that there's no data. Well, if you go to PubMed and put in the word cannabis, there's over 13,000 articles that are there. Okay? What we have chosen in this country is to ignore the facts. There is research that has been done in the United States, in Israel, Spain, Brazil, and there's plenty of research to show the medicinal uses. And the fact is, there has been no fatalities. And so, to me, this medicine does not belong in any schedule. It needs to be descheduled. And as far as these other states coming up with, only restricting it to oils, again, they are just misinformed, and the fear factor is what's making them make these decisions. And that should not be. These politicians, doctors, they don't have an MD degree. Unless they do, they should not be telling me or healthcare providers how to be practicing medicine.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Thanks for that, sort of perspective, because, we're aware, of course, of the research that exists, and especially international research. Israel, as you mentioned, it publishes a lot of research on medical cannabis, as well as also countries like, the Netherlands. And so, we just don't understand how they can sit there and testify and say that the research doesn't exist when it does. And the other thing that you alluded to is that, because of our restrictions on federal funding for research, we don't even know as much as we could. We only know a percentage of what the potential is, right?
Yeah. Well, NIDA, which is the National Institute for Drug Abuse, is the final say on most research projects. So we have 3 organizations that have to say okay before research can happen. The DEA, which is the Drug Enforcement Agency, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and NIDA. And NIDA has stopped many research projects, and if you see what they have done is about less than 10% of their research projects are scheduled for positive effects, more than 90% are for negative aspects. And as soon as research studies find a positive thing, they shut them down. And this has happened repeatedly. So hopefully things are changing. I am hoping, people need to be educated. This medicine has been around for thousands of years. Again, it's been legal here, and we need to have healthcare providers educated, because that's what's holding them back and really not helping their patients or society.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's like our mission here, you know, with Fully Baked Radio, with all of our projects. Like, educating people is the first step. And, you know, we've even seen one of our colleagues, Ricardo Rivera, has a daughter, Tuffy, who has a very severe and rare form of epilepsy. And we've seen over the last year a little girl in like a wheelchair, stroller type thing, who is mostly immobile and not there, turn into a vibrant little girl who's running around and talking and smiling.
Complete 360.
And, you know, and he works at a hospital, and, you know, and his coworkers can't deny they've seen this experiment have positive results. And so, you know, they're not the only case where you can actually visually see the difference. There's people being healed by this and treated, you know, all over the country. I think it's really awesome that doctors like you can speak to this and give validity to these claims.
Absolutely. I really think it's criminal. I think it's criminal that people can't get a medicine that kills nobody, and it's politics that's put this medicine into prohibition. And I truly believe the voice of people is what is going to get this medicine out of prohibition.
Definitely.
Indeed. Your voice, too, especially. So, you know, keep speaking out, keep educating people. I think this, the North Eastern Cannabis Institute is so amazing. We wish we could have something like that in New Jersey. Maybe you'll come back down if we start one when it's not illegal.
Absolutely. We have students that come here even from Canada, from other states, and they're able to do the course in 2 weeks' time. And I'm very excited to be a part of it. And I teach the Medical Marijuana 101 course here.
Yeah.
And what I want everybody that's listening out there to do is to please get involved. Reach out to your legislators. Reach out to people that want to be able to write letters. Help one another out to make change. You guys can do it.
Definitely.
Hey, Dr. Uma, back in 2010, they wanted to grow all the medical marijuana in New Jersey at Rutgers University. Were you there at that time, and did you hear anything about that?
No, and I'm wondering if it was up in New Brunswick or in Newark, but in 2010 is actually when I went to the state of Washington. But no, I was not familiar with that.
Definitely.
Okay.
Hey, Dr. Uma, I've had the pleasure of meeting you and your son. You being a mother in the cannabis industry, and Mother's Day right around the corner, like, what would be your advice to mothers out there that that are on the fence about cannabis and want to speak to their children and, you know, become more aware? What would be your advice to them?
Well, as a mother, I think the most important thing is communication and honesty, and to really recognize this is an industry and this is medicine, and absolutely there is going to be more and more people involved in the industry from all facets. So please do encourage your children to get involved, to get educated, because education is knowledge and knowledge is power. So for all mothers out there, educate the children, empower them, and be honest, and let's open the doors for communication and honest education, clear, truthful education, not myths.
Doctor, I've tried that with my 95-year-old grandmother, and I cannot convince her to use cannabis under any conditions. How do I get my 95-year-old grandmother to relent and to smoke some cannabis with me?
Okay, well, you know, first of all, to understand that the only delivery system is not just smoking. There are other delivery systems, and, you know, everybody has aversions to smoking, but on that topic, you can try edibles, maybe. There's different types of tinctures, and you can even try some topicals. My seniors love the topicals, they get the psychoactive effect, but they can get the pain. I had a 96-year-old and her great-great-granddaughter give her the flower, and what she was doing was actually boiling the flower, the weed, in milk, and drinking that milk. is lipophilic. I